Yes, young athletes are actually just tussling for medals, doing themselves proud for their various states, trying to get medals for themselves and for their state at the National Youth Games that is going on in Delta State, Asaba. It's a fantastic one, and we have a lot of states winning medals right now as we speak in Delta State, Asaba. But it's a good thing that we know that we have one or two athletes, or three thereabout. A lot of them will be discovered to represent Nigeria. But we are going to talk about this particular event on the show, Sports Update. Welcoming you proper. I am Emmanuel Fashemi. Okay, let's begin from the weightlifting event, where two states have eventually dominated that event. That is Lagos State and Bayelsa State. They've shown their mettle, they've shown their strength when it comes to the weightlifting, and they've done that in a very fantastic style. For Lagos State and Bayelsa State, they are leading when it comes to weightlifting at the National Youth Games in Asaba. I have Isaac Omidiji on Sports Update this evening to join me. Isaac, quickly welcome to the show. And for Lagos State and Bayelsa, now they've shown their dominance in weightlifting at the National Youth Games.
Yes, good evening to the viewers. That is not surprising because for Bayelsa, weightlifting is their fortress. For Lagos, they are coming in and showing their mental. Because if you ask for states who have always prioritized developmental sports, you list Lagos, Bayelsa, Edo, Akwa Ibom, and Delta states. Again, Rivers as well. So I'm not surprised that both are doing well, especially even in the women category. And you know, the National Youth Games is a platform for us to discover your talent, not just the National Sports Festival. And I'm happy with the caliber of youth we have. We don't have old youth, old men, old women youth participating in this tournament. The ones that I've seen so far can be categorized to be young talents that we can be proud of in the nearest future and be representative of Nigeria. Just look at what is on the screen presently and see how young this weightlifter is. And Lagos have won 3 with 2 golds and a bronze medal. Same with Bayelsa. And these two states should be states that we should watch out for in the weightlifting category, especially Bayelsa. It is their fortress. So I would not be surprised if at the end of the competition, Bayelsa top the weightlifting category with so many medals, especially gold.
Yes, if Bayelsa actually top that place, achieve all the golds or claim all the golds in weightlifting. But let's look at it this way. Now, this is the 7th edition of the National Youth Games. We've had a lot of youth games, and Delta State has promised that they are going to do all they can to be to host one of the best National Youth Games ever witnessed in Nigeria. But outside that, with the level of what we've seen so far in the events, is day 3 of events. Now, what's your general take of all of the events that have went down so far in Delta State, Asaba?
Well, good organization so far, but poor publicity, if you ask me. We have seen states who have gone with over 100 athletes, like the state I reside in, which is Niger State. They were 102 athletes to participate in about 8 sports that they prioritize and think they will be strong in. But what is the publicity level? How many of Nigerians know that the National Youth Games is going on? Remember that Ilorin, Kwara State hosted this edition, about 4 or 5 consecutively of these National Youth Games because of the developmental plan they have with the National Sports Commission, then the Ministry of Sport, and the University of Ilorin because of the good sporting facilities they have there. Now it is turn of Asaba. Asaba is doing very well, but what are the kind of sponsors that we have attracted? Not just government sponsors. What are the kind of private sectors participation that we are seeing in terms of funding National Youth Games? Don't forget that this is a good platform for us to catch them young, even better than the National Sports Festival, because in the National Sports Festival, you will have established athletes coming to participate in that particular Mondial. But now we're talking about National Youth Games. I don't know whether you've seen the athletes with the swimmers for Lagos. Very young, very young. The list of them is in primary 5. We have those in GSS1. The IS is in SS2. And these are young boys and girls. So I've seen in other states too. So if we can be catching them young here, following their development, look at the records they are setting, making it competitive, giving it the necessary publicity, necessary branding. I think that's the only thing I will fault here. The publicity and branding has not been top-notch, as I said. By now, it should be what is dominating all the airwaves on all our national televisions and radio stations. But that's not the case. So let us give it more publicity. Let us give it more branding. And to become the best organized competition on the continent of Africa.
Okay, enough publicity will just do good for the National Youth Games. Now, let's go back to the talent. What do you think the states, the various states can do with the talents that will be discovered from these particular games? You know, there are some, maybe during campaign, there are some athletes that will not do better, but in competition proper, they become the shining star of the contingent from the various states. So what can they do to actually keep the talents that will be discovered in Delta State, Asaba?
That is where good planning comes in. If you don't have good planning, how will you be able to tutor these young ones? Every state sports commission or sports ministry, as well as the federal ministry of sport as well, should have a proper planning. Now, identify them, constantly have campaigns for them where you expose them to rudiments of the game, expose them to international scene gradually, support their education, give them everything needed for their talent to be well nurtured. Now, we shouldn't just focus on the fact that, hey, this one won gold, silver, and medal, and that's all. What happens next? Are we just going to dump them? Will they not have participated in any other games except probably in the next youth festival? No. We should have a plan for them that, okay, we are going to be exposing them this way. If the states are not doing it, let the federal government do it. Every ministry, every sport federation should be represented at the National Youth Games. As I'm speaking now, that is the right thing to be done. You catch them young. Get the swimmers, get the athletes, get the weightlifters, get the boxers, get the taekwondo players, everybody. Select them and pick them. Then gradually you expose them. Let us see a gradual development of these lads from the National Youth Games to the National Sport Festival to all African Games to the World Athletics Championship to the Commonwealth Games. All these are the plans that should be on ground, and it should be based on timelines. If we don't have timelines for them, then we are not doing the right thing. We must look at, okay, these 3 athletes from wrestling, from track and field, these 3 wrestlers, these 3 weightlifters, we are going to watch them and we're going to expose them for the next 2 years and nurture them. Because these guys I've seen are very young. Then from there, we'll now start exposing them to the international scene, exposing them to the continent, exposing them to bigger events, sponsoring them for campaigns and international tournaments where they can oil their skills, where they can meet the best in the game. And we must ensure that these talents are raw presently. We must ensure that we screen them very well, we oil their skills, and make sure that at the international scene, they will excel. But if we abandon them and allow them to go, and whenever we want them again, probably that for the National Sport Festival, we'll not call on them, they'll be rusty, and they will not have gained anything different from what they've gained in the National Youth Games, except for those who are personally taking it upon themselves to develop themselves.
Yes, except those who take it upon themselves to develop themselves personally. And for the states, they should just do all they can to keep these athletes together. The talents that we discover, they should nurture them, develop them, expose them to better facility, give them better training, and prepare them for Nigeria. We have Olympics, we have World Athletics Championship, we have a lot of events lined up, African, in the continent of Africa, we have a lot of events also for sports men and women, boys and girls, and that's what the states should do. Okay, let's leave Delta State right now, head straight to Europe, and where we will be stopping, we will stop at the Bundesliga, where Victor Boniface has broken a 25 years record that has been kept for so long for a player to have the most shots at goal. And for Victor Boniface, over the weekend for Bayer Leverkusen against the newly promoted team Heidenheim, he scored a goal, also had an assist. That was what he did in Europe. That is the Europa League, where he scored and also had an assist in the league. In fact, he took off from where he left it in the European competition. And for Victor Boniface, this guy has been very fantastic for the Bundesliga side. That is Bayern Leverkusen. And Xabi Alonso has been, in fact, giving thumbs up, has been praising Victor Boniface for all he's doing for Bayer Leverkusen. Isaac Omidiji, Victor, we have Victor in Italy and we have Victor in Bundesliga. The two Victor are doing well, and now we are talking about the Victor in Bundesliga, Victor Boniface.
Yes, I think this is one of the best times to be a Nigerian, because it has always been on the shoulder of the Victor in Italy. Now we have another Victor in Germany who allowed the Victor in Italy to at least remember that he has someone that can also deliver like him up front for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. You see, this guy is bullish, he is strong, and he's focused. If you have watched him play, you know that yes, he's just the next big team to Nigeria in terms of striking position. And for Boniface, remember, after this game where he equaled this record and broke the record, he said he's not even happy because he should have scored more. He gave an example that if you have 39 shots on goal, you should have scored at least 25 goals.
Yeah.
So since he has not been able to do that, he's not happy. So that tells you that he is focused, he has ambition, and he's thinking well. He's not allowing the momentary, form that he is to get to him, because if he allows that, this is German Bundesliga, where whether we like it or not, racism is still also very present. He will be pushed to the bench. But he has shown quality. He has shown, the degree of exposure you want from a player of his nature. He came from a lower league to the Bundesliga, and he has continued to fire and fire and fire. Look at the first goal he scored in this particular game. Was able to dispossess the defender who was backing in and scored a wonderful goal. It's so good for Nigeria presently, and for Victor Osimhen in Italy. I think he will be happy, even though it was a good draw for him over the weekend. The other Victor scored in the Bundesliga, and he's willing to score more, because to him, he should have scored more so far. He has scored 8 goals so far in all competition for Bayer Leverkusen, and he's hoping to score more before the end of the season.
Yes, he's going to score more before the end of the season. And for Victor Boniface, he was actually angry. The two Victors were angry over the weekend. One was angry because he was taken off, and the second Victor in the German Bundesliga was happy, but he also was angry. Both of them were angry at the same time. One was for substitution, and the other one said, I would have scored more goals despite breaking 25 years record for most shots at goal. And that is something that after 25 years, a Nigerian, Victor Boniface, breaking that record. And he was angry. If I have 22 shots at goal, why won't I score? Out of 22 shots, I would have maybe scored 5 or at least 7 goals from 22 shots. And that is what the man is saying. But let's look at the way they are standing in the German Bundesliga. Let's look at the table, and let's look at where Bayer Leverkusen is on the German Bundesliga table after the matches over the weekend. Okay, right there you can see the two Bayern Munich is on the first position. After 5 games, they have 14 goal difference with 13 points. And Bayer Leverkusen is following. We beg your pardon for that topographic error. It's Bayer Leverkusen, not Bayer Leverkusen. Bayer Leverkusen, after 5 games, they have 11 goal difference and 13 points. So they are on the same points with Bayern Munich. And then on the third position, we have VfB Stuttgart. After 5 games, they have 12 points. RB Leipzig on the fourth position after 5 games, 12 points. They are on the same goal difference with Stuttgart. We have Hoffenheim on the 5th position. After 5 games, they have 12 points also with 6 goal difference. So 3 teams having the same number of points, but goal difference separating them. The same number of goal difference for Stuttgart and Leipzig, but one got to that 10 goal difference before the other, and that is why you're seeing that position there, the way it stands. And then we have Borussia Dortmund on the 6th position after 5 games with 11 points, and Wolfsburg on the 7th position after 5 games on 9 points, and Eintracht Frankfurt on the 8th position after 5 games. They have 7 points. Freiburg on the 9th position, 7 points. They have -5 goal difference. And Union Berlin after 5 games, they have 0 goal difference and 6 points. Isaac Boniface, let's dwell on the position of Bayern Leverkusen. They are second. They are giving a chase to Bayern Munich. Just 3 goal difference between the two teams. Now, do you think Bayern Leverkusen as a whole, outside maybe Victor Boniface, is carrying that team on his shoulder right now? Xabi Alonso is also praising him, doing well with that side. But do you think they can hold this momentum and eventually maybe topple Bayern Munich at the top of the table till the end of the season and win the league?
I think it's still early to think that Bayer Leverkusen can hold it down against Bayern Munich to follow them to the end of the league. Let's see what happens, because this is still German Bundesliga, where it has always been Bayern Munich. And the team that has always challenged them has either be Borussia Dortmund or Leipzig. Those ones are a bit far away from Bayern Munich now, but it's just a few games into the season. But for Leverkusen to sustain this momentum, they must continue to play well. And remember that Bayern Munich is also not a strong team now. They are also just, recovering back, trying to get 1 or 2 together. But they have that talismanic striker, Harry Kane, who will not stop scoring. So the more Harry Kane scores, the more Bayern Munich win, the more pressure it puts on other clubs that want to catch up, like Bayern Leverkusen. So let's hope that Boniface and his colleagues will be injury-free, and with that, they'll be able to, give their best for Leverkusen and see if they can push Bayern all the way. If not, I think it's still early to think that, because I still expect Borussia Dortmund, to still give it a good fight.
Okay, Borussia Dortmund will still give it a good fight for Bayern Munich. They blew Bochum away 7-0 over the weekend, and Harry Kane getting a hat-trick in that game. Okay, let's leave the German Bundesliga and go straight to La Liga, where it was the battle of the capital city. We also saw a battle of the capital city in England. It was all square in England, but in the La Liga, no. The other side of the other side of the capital actually say, okay, we are the owners of the capital. You can be the Lord of the Champions League and also maybe the Lord of La Liga, but this time around we are going to teach you a lesson. So let's look at the results of La Liga. We have Real Sociedad against Getafe 4-3. It ended in a 7-goal thriller. Rayo Vallecano 1, Villarreal 1, Las Palmas 1, Granada 0, and Real Betis 1, Cadiz 1. And for Atletico Madrid, Morata getting a brace in that game, 3-1 against Real Madrid. And if you look at it, Morata played for Real Madrid before joining Atletico Madrid. So it was a fantastic and sweet victory for Atletico Madrid against Real Madrid. Jude Bellingham couldn't save them over the weekend. Well, Isaac Omidiji, in fact, this game was actually a highly intense game. At the end of the day, with some few hours to that game, or a day to that game, Vinicius Jr. was confirmed not to be fit for that game. And I think because of his absence, the Real Madrid actually struggled against Atletico Madrid. What's your thought about this particular game?
I think one of my fears for Madrid came to fall in that particular game, and that has been goal scoring, prowess. There is no goal scoring striker, a good one, a world class one that fits the Real Madrid team currently in that team. Jude Bellingham has always come, to help in one way or the other towards the end of the game. He has been excellent. He has been the highest goal scorer for the team. Joselu doesn't have that profile for Real Madrid, so that is where they are going to suffer. They didn't replace Karim Benzema when he left, because even if Vinicius has been there, he wouldn't have scored, because you think we have allowed them to have, win the game against Atletico Madrid. So Atletico Madrid were compact, and if you look at Morata since the beginning of the season, he has been firing for all cylinders, even with his national team Spain. So he is in form, he is scoring goals, and now he scored 2 goals against Real Madrid. It took Toni Kroos, to get a goal for Real Madrid. So my fear has been, since the beginning of the season for Madrid, is who will score the goals for Real Madrid? Will they continue to struggle and struggle and struggle to score goals and win games? That is a big question.
That is actually a big question. They actually need replacements for Karim Benzema. Okay, let's look at how they are standing on the log in the La Liga. Let's look at their standing after that defeat to Atletico Madrid. We had, they started well in La Liga this season, but after that defeat, is now, are we going to say they started well anymore? No, because they've lost one game, and Barcelona was able to come back against Celta Vigo to actually win their own game. And if you look at it, it's always a two-horse race between these two teams, Real Madrid and Barcelona. Isaac, let's still dwell on the La Liga a bit before we go to other leagues. If you look at it right now, for Barcelona and Real Madrid, these two teams has always been the shining light of La Liga. Now, this season, Real Madrid is trying to see how they can wrestle the league title back from Barcelona. Can that happen? You mentioned Joselu. Can Joselu actually give them the number of goals that will require them to give a hot chase, a hot competition to Barcelona?
Barcelona has been an inconsistent team itself. This would have been a season you that Barcelona will go all the way and win the title. But they have also played very well, yet not inconsistent. And the fact that they have likes of Robert Lewandowski is a plus for them. And the fact that Xabi has continued to bring in young talent, and the fact that they can continue to win from even losing positions, has given the players of Barcelona that confidence they needed. And for Real Madrid, I think they need to do more if they are going to be the next rival to Barcelona, because you cannot compete in the La Liga as a Real Madrid team without a recognized proven striker. Joselu has a lot to prove, Emmanuel. He is not just there as Joselu, is there as the player who is representing Real Madrid, and he knows what is at stake. So he can make a name for himself, he can carve a niche for himself by scoring lots of goals and doing well for Real Madrid. Time will only tell, because as it stands now, Joselu is not that striker that they need, but he can become that striker that they will rely on if we see what he does as the season progresses. But as it stands now, he needs to prove us wrong, that we don't expect him to be the main striker for a Real Madrid that should be relied on and do the right thing and get. But the fact is, he has the confidence of the manager, and that's the most important thing. So if the manager is confident in you, you can go as far as possible to get the goal.
Okay, if the manager is confident in him, he can go as far as possible. Let's quickly run over the La Liga table, how it is right now. Barcelona is topping the table with 16 points after 6 games. Girona is following closely on the second position with 16 points. And Real Madrid, after they lost that game, it would have been 18 points for them. They would have gone back to the summit of the table if they had eventually defeated Atletico Madrid. But no, now they are in the third position after 6 games. They have 15 points. Athletic Bilbao have 13 points on the fourth position. The two Athletic Club, we have on the fifth position, Atletico Madrid with 10 points. We have Valencia on the 6th position after 6 games with 10 points. Rayo Vallecano on the 7th position with 10 points. Real Sociedad on the 8th position with 9 points. And Cadiz on the 9th position with 8 points. And Real Betis on the 10th position with 8 points. Let's have the flip side of it quickly. And Osasuna 11th, Villarreal 12, Getafe 13, Alaves 14, Las Palmas 15, 16 is Mallorca with 5 points. Sevilla is on 17th with 4 points, and then 18th is Celta Vigo with 4 points, and Granada is on the 19th position with 3 points, and Almeria is on the 20th position with 2 points. Okay, let's have a Ligue 1 result and table quickly. Let's have Ligue 1. There were some matches in Ligue 1, and then we have results in Ligue 1. We have Metz against Strasbourg 0-1 in favor of Strasbourg. Le Havre 2, Clermont Foot 1, Lens 2, Toulouse 1, Montpellier 0, Rennes 0, and Paris Saint-Germain hammered Marseille 4-0 in that particular encounter. And for Kylian Mbappe, it's not a good one for him because he was actually stretched out of that game after an injury. Okay, before we go on the show, let's take this transfer news where PSG, like we said, are keeping tabs on Real Madrid Rodrigo. They want to snap up this guy from Real Madrid if eventually Kylian Mbappe move the other way, that is going to Real Madrid. They want to use Rodrigo as a replacement for Kylian Mbappe. And lastly, on this one concerns Chelsea and Bayern Munich, where they are keen on Arsenal goalkeeper Aaron Ramsdale. They actually want to get this guy to their book. And that is where we'll leave it on the show Sports Update this evening. Isaac Omediji, thanks for joining us on the show this evening.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel, for the opportunity.
All right. That is it on Sports Update. I am Emmanuel Fashimi. Thanks for watching.